Welcome back to the Better Late Than Never Club. I'm Bec.
And I'm Frost.
And tonight we are, in honour of the recent passing of David Lynch, watching my first David Lynch movie.
Mine too.
Mulholland Drive. Mulholland?
Mulholland.
I think it's Mulholland.
Yeah, but if you're Australian, you can get away with a lot. So I'd say Mulholland.
Mulholland Drive.
Which is, like, one of the reasons I wasn't exactly sure how to spell it is because I'm not even sure how to say it.
Yeah.
It is something that I've heard of. Like, I've heard the name Mulholland Drive.
I've also heard it in passing, not in any certainty of what it could be about.
It's interesting because this movie is a 2001 film. Mm-hmm. So it's right in the peak of when I should have probably seen this film.
Maybe. I mean, it might not have been the kind of genre that attracted you in your youth. It's pretty arty. I mean, this has probably one of the most interesting set of genres of any film that we've done.
Not just a single genre, like the whole set of genres is interesting.
It is surrealist neo-noir mystery art film.
That's a mouthful.
Right.
Like, if they hadn't even tagged on the art at the end, it's still a big film list of
genres.
Thank you.
So, yeah, it may not have attracted you back then because it is... From what I understand, Lynch's work, what I've learned in the last day or two, is that it's all kind of like that or similar or one of those offshoots of one of those genres.
Yeah.
And so unless you've sorted out, maybe it's not like, I guess, blockbuster family movies that are going to be widely distributed. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess because it's like his films and he's a director, I guess, by proxy. They have such a cult following. Yeah,
well, I think like film heads, what are they called? Cinephiles?
Yeah.
Cinephiles, I think that makes sense. They often like the more arty film styles, and that is definitely the vibe I'm getting from looking at his films.
So because I've seen a handful of noir films, but I haven't seen any of Lynch's work. I haven't seen... Is it Lost Highway? I haven't seen, and I'm kind of ashamed to admit this, but the Better Late Than Never Club is a place of care and trust.
It's a safe space.
It's a safe space. I haven't seen any Twin Peaks material, not the original, not the reboot, and not the series reboot.
Correct.
So I haven't engaged with the Twin Peaks content in any format. There's probably a video game I should have played. Who knows?
It's definitely something that I've been like, oh, I should see that.
Yeah,
a lot of times.
Anyway, so this is...
It's kind of got that spooky vibe. I don't know. I feel like I've seen pictures of like misty forests and that appeals to me.
Yeah, for sure.
As a visual.
So this, I feel like, maybe we end up doing a David Lynch collection depending on how we like this film because...
Right. But made or broken on Mulholland Drive.
This is... exactly what the Better Late Than Never Club exists for. Like, how could we have missed the entire David Lynch Everything Forever?
Right, like a 50-year career.
Right. And, people are devastated on social media. They're like, veil David Lynch.
Best one to ever do it kind of vibes, which is a big statement.
Yeah. And here I am being like, I feel like such a pleb, like such a basic...
I knew of him, but I've never seen his work, so I don't really know him.
Yeah.
I only really knew him as a name, as a celebrity, not as an artist. So he wrote and directed this movie.
Okay. Is that different from, say, some of his other work?
I'm not sure. I mean, it's not every director writes the movies that they do. So I guess in that way, when I read that, I think, well, this is even more closely a reflection of his, artistic work.
I do know that he had a cameo on Lost Highway, so I wonder if, sort of like Tarantino, who writes a lot of his own material, then directs it, and also...
I think he might be similar. I just looked at his first movie, Eraserhead, and he wrote, directed, produced, and edited that one. So he really,
That's Mark Jacobs by Mark Jacobs for Mark Jacobs, isn't it?
Right. The next one, The Elephant Man, he just directed. Dune is an interesting one. He wrote and directed that in the 80s.
He would have written the adaptation for screen, though, because the Dune book precedes the 80s.
I know, but what I'm saying, I'm looking at his films and seeing whether he wrote them as well. Blue Velvet, he wrote and directed. So I think fair to say, yes, that was his modus operandi, was to write and direct, if not more.
Normally I don't want to know this, and I don't ask because I don't want to know.
Yeah.
How does Mulholland Drive rate compared to his other films? Like, sometimes you'll tell me what the Rotten Tomato score is or the Google, like IMDb, whatever it is. And like I find that interesting. Like if we're setting ourselves up to watch a good film or not, sometimes it helps set the expectation. But for this, I do want to make sure that we're going to set ourselves up for the right David Lynch film.
Well, I mean, that's hard to say. I haven't actually looked at his other movies on Rotten Tomatoes, so let's have a look. I know that this one has a relatively high rating of like 7.8, I think.
Not bad, especially for something that's a little bit more niche.
So The Elephant Man, that 1980 version, has 92%. That's pretty good. Eraserhead has 89%. This has 84%.
And Twin Peaks, which I feel like that's probably the most well-known work, right?
So the movie Twin Peaks has 64%.
Oh, wow.
But the highest rated Twin Peaks product is the 2017 Twin Peaks The Return Season 1, which has 94%.
Interesting.
And then the original Twin Peaks Season 1 has 91%. So I think people liked the TV shows more, clearly. I mean, that's what... If you're going to take tomatoes as gospel.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a temperature, right? Like, it's just...
Right.
How do people feel about it? And TV, I think, is more approachable as well, like, generally speaking. So
Dune is not well rated. But yeah, I think I'd heard that it wasn't great, but I don't really know Dune, so I can't be... I couldn't watch that and be a judge anyway, because I'm not super familiar with the Dune lore or the universe.
This is a hot drop for you, dear listener. Not only do we not know the Dune books, any of them really, or any of the Dune movies, we haven't even seen the latest Dune movies with Mr. Chalamet, so... Timothée. So we don't even really know. I'm
not against Dune.
No,
I just haven't felt emotionally available to be invested in another universe
and you know
right now.
And in 10 years... It'll age out into the Better Late Than Never clubs watching repartee, so we can...
It's so funny to say that about such an old book. It hasn't quite matured yet.
Yeah.
To work its way onto our podcast.
I was talking about the newest Dune.
I know. But for now, I guess there's really not much else I have written down to say about this movie. The only other thing I wrote down is that it's starring, as per the Wikipedia, Justin Theroux and Naomi Watts. Now, I don't think I've seen anything Justin Theroux is in, or if I have, I've forgotten about it. Naomi Watts, I might have seen her in stuff. You would know her from The Ring. I think you've seen that. She's the journalist in The Ring.
Yeah, that's a terrifying film. She does a really good job.
Yeah, those are I think the top two billing. The biggest, I'm not sure. There's other people in the list, but those were the two names that I recognize. I'm pretty sure I only know Justin Theroux's name because he was dating or maybe married to Jennifer Aniston. Like, I don't know. He's in stuff, but I don't know him. And yeah, that's literally all I know. I guess expectations-wise, going into this movie, with those genres, I'm expecting weird, but like weird in a good way. Hopefully.
There were so many genres I've already forgotten. Was mystery one of them?
It was.
I love a good mystery film.
Yeah.
So,
but it's surrealist, neo-noir mystery art.
No, this is going to be good. So I reckon this sounds good.
Yeah. I mean, well, hopefully. It's set up as got good potential, good bones from our perspective, genre-wise.
Yeah.
I guess I'm hoping not to be confused. No one loves to be confused. I'm hoping it's not weird in like a confusing way.
Dear listener, if we come back after the credits roll, like I'm not sure what we just watched, we're going to probably do some Googling to be like, what did we miss?
Hey, we're not going to look stupid on our own podcast.
No, hey, I try very hard to look stupid on my own podcast. Thank you very much.
We all appreciate it.
Thank you.
So I guess it's just time to dive in and experience our first David Lynch movie in Mulholland Drive.
First, we meet a mysterious woman who narrowly escapes both an attempted murder and a terrible car crash. Afflicted with amnesia, she seeks refuge in the apartment of Betty, an aspiring young actress who quickly takes up the initiative to help her discover her identity, calling her Rita in the meantime. Spurred on by a sudden memory of the name Diane, the two women find a gruesome discovery. The Diane in question is dead in her bed. Betty and Rita, now lovers, head to Club Silencio where they experience big emotions during the performance. After finding a blue box for her mystery key, Rita opens it. Time gets strange. Diane Selwyn, an actress who looks exactly like Betty, is alive and romantically entangled with Camilla, who we know as Rita. Diane is incensed after Camilla breaks it off to be with a film director, Adam, and subsequently hires a hitman to kill her. In the aftermath of this decision, Diane is driven mad and takes her own life. Here's some sort of deeper thoughts on the matter.
Okay, for absolutely no reason, I'm getting my phone ready to Google like a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Can you make the number one thing you Google Mulholland Drive explained for dummies?
I was just going to Google what the fuck and just keep clicking until I got to Mulholland Drive.
Listen. Let me preface this by saying it was a cool movie. It was like very intriguing. And I think for probably the first half, I was like pretty hooked and excited to like figure it out, you know, in a mystery way.
I mean, there was certainly mystery elements that I was like sure we were going to figure out.
This is what I'm saying. So for the first 50%, I was there. And then as the second half continued,
Like, who's our mystery woman?
I lost more and more hope that we were going to get answers.
Like, enough time had passed, and you said this, I think, about 5 minutes before the film ended. Enough time had passed that you were like, I'm so worried that the film is going to, like, end any second now, and we are going to get nothing. Zilch, zip,
and that's basically
nada.
what happened.
Well, no, we got like a lot all in a really short period of time. Just, I don't think it got spoon-fed to us. Here is my wild take. It's that Betty never existed, or at least Betty in the person who flies in on a plane and comes to that house and then meets Camilla recovering in that house. That Betty didn't exist.
Yeah.
Right? I think that Camilla was in an accident that was a failed assassination attempt. And she had lost her memory, and she has gone to this house because she does know it. She does know it. Because all of those other things with the director and Camilla and Diane actually happened. But
I think it's more surrealist. I don't think it's real.
no, yeah, well, I mean, obviously,
Like, as in, like, I don't think there's a real explanation that can be drummed out through what actually occurred. I think it's like, I don't know, there's an allegory in there somewhere that we're not getting, is what I'm saying. Because I was confirming whether Naomi Watts did play, because they did a really good job of making Diane and Betty look different.
yeah.
Like, different enough that it made you question whether it was a different actress.
What I want to know also is when they're at Winky's and there's the waitress Diane, whether that waitress Diane is actually just like a different, but also
No, I think that
is also Naomi Watts. Like, it's all
No. That's your face blindness coming through. That was a different person.
Okay, well, so that's what really had me fucking going.
Yeah. That's a different person.
Yeah.
But yes, Naomi Watts does play both of them.
Okay.
Also, the Laura Harring, the person that plays Rita / Camilla.
Yeah.
What I hadn't put together until I'm looking at this plot, the cast list,
Yeah.
is that Rita's real name is Camilla Rhodes,
Camilla Rhodes.
which is the same name as that other actress that is like the one that we're like, this is the one.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
Well,
that.
neither did I. I had enough time had passed that I had forgotten that was the name.
But Camilla Rhodes was like some blonde.
Yeah, and then they make out near the end there.
What? Oh, yeah.
She comes over and kisses her, and that's what gets Diane all angry.
Right.
So, what?
Camilla Rhodes. But her name is Camilla. But that
They're
actress...
Both. No.
Sorry, no. We're just struggling with face blindness here.
Okay.
Oh, they're both named Camilla.
In this.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I see what you mean.
In like the before with Betty, and there's the whole thing of like, you gotta install this actress. Here's her picture.
Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just realized that the last 2 or 3 minutes of us talking has just come after some deeper thoughts on the matter, and that made me think of what your recap is going to be like.
I am scared for future me. I don't want to think about it.
The best part is we're talking about this like
whatever I did, I bet it was great.
I'm sure it was great. Dear listener,
honestly,
let's be clear. Whatever has happened, we don't know what the recap looks like at this stage.
I'm shuddering.
Becky's afraid. She's sweating. It's stressful over there. So please let us know in the comments whether it was any good. Oh, sorry, that was funny. I'm really sorry. This is this is tricky. I was thrilled. I was tense. I said to you at one point that not just because of our lead actress's role in it, that it had the same tension and stress from literally watching The Ring, which is a horror film, which this is not. I Googled, by the way, Mulholland Drive explained for dummies. And I feel like the best way to do a for dummies summary is to let the AI overview do it for you, because there's nothing more for dummies than that.
Right.
And Gemini, in all its wisdom, has decided to say that Mulholland Drive by David Lynch is a film that explores themes of regret, failure, and the pursuit of success in Hollywood. It can be interpreted in many ways, but some say it's a love letter to classic film noir.
Right. So...
There is a plot summary. I just didn't click onto it.
Okay. Look, I think it is like I was saying, I don't think we can like pull it apart and be like, now actually Betty never existed. I don't think that it's...
it's not a Memento.
It's not, there's not like an actual through line of a mystery that can be unraveled and pieced out and scened out. You know what I mean?
We might be looking at a couple of different stories or alternate realities or just
one
big drug trip.
I mean, it's just a weird ass film in kind of the best way of like, it's not meant to necessarily make sense. It's all just themes and vibes and emotions. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't really know what I mean, but I guess that's maybe the point that Lynch was making with this kind of movie. It's very Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know? And I guess that's kind of the point.
Certainly individual elements really stand out to you as like, oh, this is making fun of something. This is like really hamming it up. When like Naomi Watts. When Naomi Watts, like we first see her and it's playing that uplifting music, she's come in from the airport and there's two people that she's met in the plane and isn't it wonderful to be in Hollywood? And it is very much like incongruous with the film so far.
Right.
Like it's just completely at odds with everything. That to me was like satirical. Like it was very like...
Well, she's literally like a girl from the country come to the big city kind of vibes. And then, of course, it switches to these two old people maniacally smiling in a taxi. Yeah, then, of course, they continue to come up increasingly creepily. And I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah.
There's a few things that I can sort of draw, like you were saying, like meaning out of, I guess, or reference or theme. I don't know what they mean. I really don't.
With a film like this, where there is so much that I am sure I don't fully understand, or if I think I understand it, I'm probably wrong.
Sure.
There is so much and the one example that springs to mind is when they first go to Diane's apartment block.
Yeah.
And they think, D. Selwyn is... They
go to number 12.
On number 12, and for some reason, she's traded apartments, she's now number 17, blah, blah, blah. Kind of weird. Mm-hmm. But there's a bunch of names on that apartment block list, and I just wonder if
there's references on there.
Right, for example...
I mean, they show it very briefly.
No, yeah, but let's just say, for example, and this is not the case, but let's just say all the names said Camilla, but they were only looking for D. Selwyn.
Right, but they didn't.
Right, well, no, but something like that, like something super weird, something just completely uncanny and out of place.
But the thing is, the film didn't really have much of that in terms of it did for us because it's switching between these different perspectives and stories, especially at the end when we go into the tiny blue box into the other realm. But for the characters themselves, they're experiencing a mystery, but it's honestly, I can't stop thinking about all the different elements that I can't piece together.
I mean, we could start from the start and try and list them out.
Well, so the beginning obviously has like you said, the failed assassination, perhaps. Yep. Is that, if that's... Well, she's, there's the car crash and the kids all die, assumedly, and then she escapes or, walks away with amnesia. Yeah.
And she may or may not be alive at this stage.
Well, she is for the sake of the movie because everyone can see her.
Right, sure.
And then she ends up and she's scared and that all makes sense.
Well, sorry, what I meant was she might or might not be alive in that it's definitely happening from her perspective, but it might not be happening. Like she might be dead or dying, and this is all
You could say that about anything, though.
This is all like a flash.
I take your point, but I could be dead right now. I wouldn't know.
I'm dying right now.
This whole podcast is just in my head.
If it was, I'm sure it'd be way easier to edit.
Brains like to make things hard. Anyway, so she's scared. That makes sense. Someone just tried to kill her.
Sure.
So then she ends up at this house and yada yada. Now Betty shows up.
Whoa, you skipped right over already one of the most...
I'm just going past there.
Yeah, the most surreal thing that happened in the film so far. She walked all the way from the hills of Mulholland Drive into the city in heels.
Unrealistic.
Very
unrealistic,
super surrealist.
Although she's in shock.
Yeah.
Humans can do weird amounts of stuff in shock.
Yeah.
So then Betty shows up, and Betty is kind of supernaturally nice.
Yeah.
To be honest, but not like
Believably nice.
Believably
nice.
because it's not like she's a murderer in her house. She's just a naked woman.
Right.
With amnesia.
After the initial startle, she realizes that there's something not quite right, but not in like an unsafe way, but in like a you might need help way.
Yeah.
She's a helper.
So that all makes sense. And her wanting to help her figure it out also makes sense because, you know, a little bit of mystery and adventure and it's a bit of fun.
You found somebody without their memory, you would try and help.
Yeah. Now, it's at this point, like, we've got a couple of other side plots going on, of course, with the guy at Winky's.
Yeah, so
we only get really one main scene with him where he's talking to some guy who we never see him again, the second guy.
Yeah, not even as like a throwaway character somewhere else? Okay.
I don't think so. Or at least I don't remember him seeing him.
There's just a few scenes with a lot of old white dudes. So
but he's not that old. Anyway, so he's talking about his bad dreams and how he sees himself in this restaurant, and then he sees this creepy man, and then they go outside and they find the creepy man and he collapses. And it's like a demon, burnt demon person.
And so it's almost like this guy is seeing into this alternate reality where...
I guess.
You know,
I mean, it's not really explained. We only see him once more at the end, near the end.
And he's in Winky's when Diane allegedly plans the assassination of Camilla.
And then, of course, we have the other side plot of the director and his film set coming to an end because the mob ? We never get an answer of who Mr. I think it was Roke.
Yeah, it was really hard to hear in the talent agency, film agency meeting room.
There's like a guy who cared a lot about espresso.
Yeah.
But then one of those guys also goes to visit a guy who's like behind glass in a wheelchair.
Yeah, the glass and wheelchair guy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Mr. Roke. I think
that's Mr. Roke.
I think that's what his name was. And he is seemingly the one that is telling them to burn it all down.
He's calling the shots.
We don't never find out why or what the purpose of all of this is. And then, of course, the director has his little interlude with his wife and the pool guy, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then he calls his assistant and is like, what's going on? And she's like, I don't know, but you should go meet the cowboy.
Yeah.
And then that whole scene happens and we're like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Still not too weird because we're like, okay, maybe he like works with the mob or whatever. He's clearly he's got the same outcome. He wants this girl installed. This Camilla Rhodes, who is played by Melissa George, the blonde.
Yeah.
Anyway. And then, of course, I'm trying to think, is there any other like side plots or weird...
I mean, like we touched briefly on the assassination guy, but he has his book that he's after. The
book of numbers. Like
the book of numbers, it belongs to somebody, and it's somebody's name who I didn't catch. So that maybe that ties it all together, Beck. Maybe that's the missing key. But yeah, so tragically for me, I didn't catch a couple of those details.
And there's a lot going on.
Are you ready for a plot summary that I wouldn't have considered?
Sure.
The film follows Diane Selwyn, who is driven to succeed in Hollywood. She imagines herself as Betty Elms, a character in an old Hollywood film. Diane's compulsion to succeed leads her to commit murder, and she's haunted by regret. The plot twist includes the revelation that Betty is in fact Diane and that Rita is actually Camilla.
Yeah, see, I think that's just one interpretation.
Yeah, like for sure.
So I don't know.
But that kind of tracked with what I was trying to sum in my head with the fact that Betty wasn't real.
Well, I mean, the fact that she disappears is certainly indicative of something of that nature.
Yeah.
And they're obviously meant to be reflecting the same person, literally played by the same actress.
Yeah. It's
just incredibly confusing, this sort of... Because if you think about it, right, you've got Rita/Camilla, and in one side, in the Betty side of things, before Betty disappears, she... Oh, I guess it makes sense. But how does she end up in this house if Betty isn't real? If Camilla is imagining her... Because she goes to the house and Diane's killed herself. That all can be true, right? In the same world as Camilla being almost assassinated.
Yeah.
Because like you said, she thought it was done.
Yes.
But what's confusing there is that she doesn't remember that she's, like in that world, the director is still married and he doesn't know Camilla.
Well, so Camilla, nor Betty, nor Rita, nor Diane run into the director.
Yes, they do.
Except for...
Betty does at the audition.
Yeah. But
where Camilla Rhodes is being installed. but as the other Camilla Rhodes, the blonde one.
Yeah.
That's what's so confusing. Like,
Yeah,
it's,
okay.
I mean, let's be honest. I could pretty much lay out every scene in this movie and say, so that's why this is confusing. I guess what I'm saying is, like, I think that's why for about 60 to 70% of the movie, I was watching it and going, oh, yeah, this is really interesting, confusing, but in a fun way. And then for the last 20 to 30%, I was like, this is now confusing in a frustrating way.
Yeah.
Of like, I thought that I was going to be able to figure this out, but turns out it's the unfigure-outable. We've
been acquiring puzzle pieces, and now in the last 10 minutes, like, surprise, these are all puzzle pieces that don't fit together for you.
Yeah.
Like, you were keeping the ones that you thought were important, but they're actually from a different puzzle.
Yeah.
So,
is Regardless one of his finest works, Lynch's?
I mean, it's a very interesting film to watch.
Ranked 8th in the 2022 Sight and Sound Critics Poll of the best films ever made.
I mean, like, I'd be lying if I say I didn't enjoy it.
No, I know. I agree with you. I think it's a very interesting and twisty and turny film that I could not predict one scene to the next, basically.
I wonder if Silencio and that whole transaction, like that whole scene, which is quite long, right? The Silencio scene where they go to that theater and there's the guy who's like basically saying it's all recorded, there are no instruments, it's all an illusion, you know? Mm-hmm. And he's literally the man behind the curtain, in front of the curtain, because he disappears and then comes back out from behind the curtain. And then that singer sings, and I think she's singing in like Spanish.
I think so,
Spanish or Italian, maybe.
Spanish.
But I wonder what that song is, because obviously Camilla/Rita is very impressed upon by it. You know, it felt to me like it was a love song, like that the singer was singing about a person, a name.
It's just a rendition of something called Crying. It's a song by Roy Orbison, and it's the Spanish version that she was singing.
Huh, there you go.
Also, the singer, just another fun fact, played herself. She's a real singer-songwriter from California.
There you go.
Anyway, my goodness. I mean...
Is your head hurting? My head's hurting like a little
bit. Yeah, like not too bad. I think, honestly, and this is kind of sad to say, but I wish I could ask David Lynch.
Oof. I'm sure people have.
Oh, yeah. It's been over 20 years since he made the movie. I'm sure there's a lot of places I can go for discussion on this.
I actually think, now this is kind of funny, like, obviously a lot of content got shared when David Lynch passed away.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that I saw was somebody interviewing him and being like, so what is, you know, and the caption, like, it's just 2-line caption. So what does it mean? And then, like, David Lynch, I think the film speaks for itself.
Yeah. I think he was often like that. And that's very, like, surrealist filmmaker to say, I feel. Which I kind of like. I think that's a funny way to be. And a good troll, or a good, you know.
Oh, that's actually really funny.
I mean, that is it. Like, art doesn't have to have some kind of well-defined meaning and outline. I get that. I'm not saying that it does. I'm just saying the experience for me of watching it was at the very end a little frustrating, just because I wanted a little bit more explanation.
Yeah.
Or something, like strings that I could tie together in a slightly prettier bow, you know?
Like,
but I still enjoyed it. I think that they all did a fantastic job, Naomi Watts and Laura Harring.
I mean, this just makes me want to watch The Ring, kind of, like low-key. Scare myself.
Very different movie.
Scare myself silly in like a kind of confusing plot that wraps itself up and leaves you with questions. Just not quite as many damn questions. Just not quite as many. Just not quite as many questions. Ugh.
Well, here's something interesting that I just found on the Wikipedia.
Oh, yeah? Is this the Wikipedia for Mulholland Drive?
For the movie.
Okay.
So contained within the original DVD release is a card titled David Lynch's 10 Clues to Unlocking This Thriller.
Oh, yeah?
The clues are, number 1, pay particular attention in the beginning of the film. At least 2 clues are revealed before the credits.
The dance?
Yeah, and then the old people. Like it's Betty or Diane smiling with the old people is something that we see flash up on the screen after the jitterbug.
I think his clues are too cerebral for me, but go on.
Anyway. Well, they might not be the clues. Who knows?
Yep.
Number 2, notice appearances of the red lampshade. That was in one of the phone scenes.
Yeah, I saw the red lampshade.
Diane's Diane had a red lampshade next to her phone, I think.
Yeah. Well, he also might be calling attention to the red lampshade, but maybe because I remember distinctly there's an ashtray next to the red lampshade. And I wonder if one of them is like at one point or maybe the whole time, it's the piano ashtray.
Maybe.
I don't remember.
Number 3, can you hear the title of the film that Adam Kesher is auditioning actresses for? Is it mentioned again? So, of course, he's auditioning for the film that they say that they met on at the end there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. I don't know. It's like, I don't know how these unlock the film. These are just fun facts. Anyway, number 4, an accident is a terrible event. Notice the location of the accident. Yeah, okay. Mulholland Drive.
Oh, no, but the location is specifically like 6980.
I guess, yeah. Number 5, who gives a key and why?
The assassin gives the key.
Is there any other keys given?
I'm just trying to think. Oh, yeah. No, Coco gives a key.
Does she?
Yeah, right at the start. She's like, well, I'm sure you've got an arrangement with your aunt, so here, have this.
Yeah.
She gives a key to give Betty access.
I guess.
Ah, but Betty, Diane, also gets given a key when the murder takes place.
Who knows? 6, notice the robe, the ashtray, the coffee cup.
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of robes. There's a lot of women wearing robes in this. The ashtray, the coffee cup, though.
I mean, there's a few people that drink coffee.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously there's the scene immediately before we both went, this took a turn.
Right.
Where they're pouring coffee, where Diane's pouring coffee in her house.
Then we have 7. What is felt, realized, and gathered at the Club Silencio? Felt, realized, and gathered.
This is how you know it's a surrealist film. Like, I feel like
These are the clues.
I'm doing an essay on this, apparently.
I reckon this was probably, someone has probably had to do this for some kind of film school.
Those exact questions, what was felt, realized, and gathered.
Yeah, no,
and I want a 800-word essay. I can feel the time
pressure of an exam.
Yeah. But on my desk by Monday, there'll be a 5% detractor for each day it's late.
Number 8, did talent alone help Camilla?
I mean, she was talented. But which Camilla are we talking about? The blonde Camilla?
Yeah, exactly. And number 9, I don't know why I said and number 9, there's 2 more. Note the occurrences surrounding the man behind Winkies.
What?
What occurrences, you might add? There's I don't know. I need someone to tell me the answers. Lastly, number 10, where is Aunt Ruth? She's in Canada.
What if, hear me out. So, like, Diane is pretending to be Betty, and Aunt Ruth has flown the coop, and we see her drive away, or she packs a bunch of bags, blah, blah. But what if elsewhere during the film we actually see that actress in places? Like, not so obvious in the forefront, not anywhere that I saw, but...
I mean, I'm sure these are things that I can eventually Google. I will be Googling a lot.
Yep.
But basically, this goes on to say David Lynch refused to comment on the meaning or symbolism of this film, which sounds like him. And I kind of love that. It's very funny.
I'm just doing some reading. None of this sits well with me. Oh, boy. There is an unsurprising number of videos and articles and other such things with titles like Mulholland Drive Solved and Mulholland Drive Explained, and they're only like 17 to 20 minutes, and I'm so sorry, but I don't think you have enough crayons to explain this to me in 17 minutes.
Yeah, no. Look, what a film. This does make me very intrigued at what David Lynch's other movies must be like, you know?
Yeah.
Like, did he maintain this level of confusion throughout his other surrealist work? I don't know. But I think we've come to the point where we should probably rate this.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Give me just a quarter of a second. Okay. Yeah. All right. I got exactly what I'm going for here.
Go ahead.
You go first. No, you go first.
Oh, I go first.
What
if I steal your thing?
If you do, I will be impressed and surprised.
All right. I think I'm going to give this film a 7.3 shot vacuum cleaners out of 10.
You were so close.
I honestly was trying to guess what yours was.
I've gone for 7.9 botched assassinations out of 10.
Okay, a little bit more general. I was like, I thought it would have to be something to do with that scene.
Yeah.
But I was like, what element is he going to choose?
That ridiculous assassination scene was definitely...
Honestly, there was some funny parts throughout this film.
Yeah, for sure. Like Billy Ray Cyrus just being like, that's no way to treat your wife.
And then him getting absolutely bonked by the big guy. Anyway, what a movie. If you want to have your head hurt a little bit.
And like your heart hurt a little as well.
And to get some tension that will never be released.
Actually, yeah, that's probably where I'm feeling this pain, is that there has been no resolution to the tension that has been knitted up.
I forgive you, David Lynch. Rest in peace.
Yeah, look, honestly.
Thank you for being one of the weird ones.
Yeah.
You know, we need some of that in the world
Thank you for being one of the real ones. Like, this is I'm sure this is what art was meant to be.
Yeah.
And then we had...
This is why God is afraid of us.
Proof that God is dead, Lynch's films.
Well, thank you for listening, and let us know if you have any illuminating thoughts on the plot or themes of Mulholland Drive, or your thoughts on David Lynch's work as a whole.
Yeah, tell us what you gathered, witnessed, and experienced when you watched Mulholland Drive for the first time. Did you understand it on the first, second, or 10th watching? Did you not watch it? Did you turn it off halfway?
Are you okay with not knowing?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I am, but
No.
I'm getting there. I'll get there, I'm sure. Let us know if you have any other recommendations for us. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you get your podcasts. It's where you're listening right now.
Send us a message on Patreon if you have any recommendations. We're always
Any requests?
open to new requests, for sure.
Until we see you next time. Bye-bye.
Till next time.
This episode of the Better Late Than Never Club is brought to you by our patrons: Alex, Christopher, Lindy, Matthew, Nathan, and Rachel.
And also our members, Aimless, Andrew, Raina, Salty Pond, and Simon.
Thank you for listening.